Ryan Malinowski. Welcome in our new item. How is Ryan doing? Last year you played at Leuven. It was a good season, sixth, and the year before seventh. How did you find how everything went last season with Leuven?
Yeah, well, first off, it's good to be here. Hopefully you're, staying well and nice and keeping enough things to do during the quarantine. But back to Leuven, had a really good season. We have a really good group of guys there. The core group of guys all came back for last year. So we pretty much just built on the things that we were doing well the season before. We kind of picked up on a few different things, like you mentioned. 2 less BENE League games with Amsterdam not being in the league. A lot of positive things. A lot of the younger players, few of the younger players really stepped up, started to see maturity in their game, and we faced a really tough opponent in HYC in the playoffs, but it all came down to that final elimination game. But overall, really solid season, good group of guys and good people in Leuven.
Yeah, you mentioned the games in the playoffs against Herentals.
Yeah.
You beat them twice at their home ground. No other team did it. How did you manage that?
Yeah, I think it was kind of a combination of our coach did a really good job in getting us just to really play the best game that we played, playing them in their game. If we gave them time and space, obviously they showed in the games that they beat us. They're very skilled, very mature. They're good at passing. They can read. They have good hockey IQ. Our game is a bit more, hey, we have to play smart in our defensive end. We'll get our chances. And then when we get good chances, we got to try to bury. But in the games that we did that and played all 60 minutes, we didn't give up or get bad penalties, sloppy penalties throughout the game. We had a fighting chance in those games, and everybody played well collectively. In the other ones, it wasn't the case. But it was nice to be able to, have a couple of really strong games with first them and also quite a few other opponents, whether it be Galeen and some other teams in the BENE.
Yeah, it's Leuven. It's a young team.
Yeah.
How is it to play with a young team? Is it special, or and some people say one of the main reasons Leuven is making those steps the last 2 years is Ryan in goal. How do you see that?
Hey, I think it's a combination. It's a combination kind of. We had a really, I think it was just the fact that everybody played together for one more year. We had a lot of really good young players that are continue getting better. Just to name a few, not to miss out on any, Alec James, Jeffy Versin. We have a really good leadership group with PJ and Dean. And just there's a lot of other components to the team. We had, Oscar from, came back into Leuven this year, but just a ton of guys on the back end. Also, the other import, Adam Lagozo, huge part of the team, not only offensively, which obviously as a defenseman, he produced, the last 2 years as well, but a lot of people, he kind of went unnoticed sometimes with how strong he is defensively. And that really helped me, especially when you have a guy like that, along with, PJ Dean and, our other, team members in front of me every night. I think that really made a big difference. But it's a young group. I'm hoping for, their sake for the next few years that, everybody, whether I'm there or not, I hope everyone there is able to stay together if it works financially. It's a really good experience. And, I have nothing but good things to say about, the guys in the locker room there. So,
yeah. You also played in Poland and in Denmark, the second league in Denmark.
Yeah.
How do you compare those leagues to the BENE League?
Yeah, well, I think Poland is very. When I played in Poland, they kind of were going through a different time financially. I think it's a bit stronger there now. Poland's definitely a little bit. Probably, I'd say would have a little bit more depth per team. I think in the IHF ratings, I think Poland's around 21 right now. I think they beat maybe Netherlands. I think 8-0 last time they played them. They're very strong national team. But it's just I wouldn't say like if the teams faced off head to head, I think you're going to see a very different style of play. Just a lot of open ice. In Poland, they really tend to be patient. If someone skates out of the zone and they don't see anything, they kind of curl back and will, kind of break out again. In Denmark, it was a really big speed game. Not a ton of hitting, a ton of speed. And how it works in Denmark is you have the top two leagues. You have the BENE League on Division 1, both strong with a lot of good players. But what can happen is you can take players from the BENE League on at any point and move them down to the second league. So a lot of teams will have players from both teams, but really different styles of play there. A lot of speed there. In BENE League, you really see the imports in BENE League are a lot of times, the stronger players on the team. But you have the BENE League's getting stronger year by year, and each league is a little bit different. And off the ice, they couldn't be more than opposite. Poland is much more Eastern Bloc Europe. My family is from there originally, so I'm used to it. I speak a little bit of the language, but it's still a culture shock when you go there. Whereas Denmark and Belgium, it's very, both beautiful countries, amazing places to live, and just different. But the hockey, the fans are great everywhere. It's just a little bit different experience.
Yeah. Is there also a difference, you as an American, maybe you see it differently, the Belgium teams and the Dutch teams in the BENE League?
Yeah, I see it a little bit. You can definitely tell the difference when, if you're going up to Den Haag or Heerenveen, whether, and I always butcher when I say Heerenveen, by the way, but you definitely notice a difference just in the rinks. The rinks in Den Haag and Heerenveen are a lot more like the rinks that we have back home here in North America. And you can just notice that a bit more infrastructure is in place across Holland. It's getting there in Belgium, obviously, with Antwerp building their new rink soon. Liège, I love playing at that rink. But I noticed a bit of a difference. It's funny that I think the second year playing in BENE League, I've really noticed a lot on, the rivalries. We've always had that rivalry with Liège. But I've even noticed, when you go up to, Holland, there might be, a certain player on a team. People are like, hey, like they're pretty hard nosed to play against. But I'm used to a physical style of game and mental warfare on the ice. So I never when it comes to like someone being intimidating, I think it's hilarious. It's a fun part of the game for me. So I love it and embrace it.
Yeah. We also had some questions from our followers.
Whatever we can go, whatever we want.
What you mentioned Liège. Is the rivalry? Is that also the hardest team for you to play, or which is the hardest, most difficult team for Leuven to play?
I would say if you look at it on paper, probably a Heerenveen this season, definitely the hardest team on paper to play. The record speaks for itself. They had a strong season. I think when it comes to a head-to-head matchup and mentally, I think that the Leuven versus Liège rivalry is definitely it's probably the toughest opponent, just in the fact that there's so much hostility on the ice and just in a competitive sense. And it's just when we face them, a lot of times, both sides are like, hey, we want to beat them. And I have a ton of respect. I like a lot of the guys. I'm friends with a lot of guys on Liège as well. And it's just a fun battle, but you can definitely tell like, hey, it's when it's on the ice, no one's friends anymore. When the game's over, you can, laugh about it. But on the ice, I'd say Liège is definitely the biggest rival. They haven't got over the hump this year. We had some close games with them in the Belgian Cup semifinal. It came down to, I think it was a 1-1 tie with 4 seconds left. And we needed to get a goal to even it out. But yeah, those are fun ones. And I like playing in how do you say it? Patinoire. I like playing there. So
yeah. It's a great stadium. Yeah. Last year, Jane Madison played there.
Yeah.
You know him. You knew him before.
Yeah.
Was that one of the reasons to come to the BENE League?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually before I got Gil, our coach in Leuven, got in touch with me about coming to Leuven. And I was actually planning on signing with a team in Latvia. So I was currently in Riga, Latvia last year, so September 2018. And when Gil reached out to me about coming to Leuven for the opportunity to come to BENE League, I lived with Shane and his family for a year during juniors. and I knew he played in Liège, had a great experience there. So I started messaging him and just saying, hey, how's the league? He kind of filled me in on a few things. And honestly, that was one of the deciding factors on why I decided to come to BENE League, because he had good things to say about it. I trust his judgment because he's a good friend. And he said, hey, it's a good experience. And after that, once I got here and I met all the people in Leuven, I was like, hey, this is a good fit. We got a good coach, nice people. So.
Yeah. Shane is from the Toronto region. You are from the Buffalo region.
Yeah.
Which is close. You also went to college in Buffalo State.
Yep.
Yeah. When you say Buffalo Sabres
Yep.
goalies, Dominic Hasek.
Yep.
You are a young guy when he played at Buffalo, but
yeah.
Did you see him play? Is he one of your idols, or?
Yeah, actually, it's a funny story with Dom. He actually, I grew up in a suburb of Buffalo, New York. So when I say Buffalo, that would be like saying, hey, I'm from Brussels, but I live 20 minutes out.
Yeah.
So I lived in the suburbs, and I went to the same school as Dominic's son. And so myself and Hasek's son played together on the same team.
Okay.
And we were like, I don't know, 8, 9 years old. Neither of us played goalie. So his dad used to come to the rink and he would just play street hockey with us all the time. So he was always, growing up, he was always my favorite goalie. He was a very, kind of a weird guy off the ice, as far as like very quirky, but favorite goalie of all time. And I've always looked up to him and a couple other goalies. I like picking the goalies that are kind of like the underdogs, or if they're, right-handed like myself. But yeah, Dominic, I liked him for years, and he grew up 2 minutes from me. So.
Okay. Yeah. Nice story. We have some other questions from the followers. You have your own post-game show.
Yeah.
How did you start it?
I don't. I think the first time I did it earlier this season, I was trying to do like a fun complimentary parody of some of the FaceOffNL interviews.
Yeah, and I'm honestly, FaceOff is calling in. Yeah.
Yeah. So the FaceOff is calling in, and honestly, I enjoy being behind the camera, and whether it just be silly or something serious, I like doing it. So I started doing it, and I just grabbed a few players on the team. I think I had Adam Lagozo, Inez on our team, Ben Butte, and Boria do it, and a few other guys. But it all depended. Some guys were really for it, and a few guys after the game. I would only do it after wins, because after a loss, you don't do it. But some of the guys were happy to do it. Other guys are like, I don't want to be on camera, Ryan. So it could have been a combination of they're like, shut up, Ryan, I don't want to do that with you, or I don't want you to embarrass me or say something silly on camera. But no, it was all in good fun, and I just thought it was something fun for the fans to see.
Yeah, they are fun to watch, and they can see you. They can see them at your Facebook. So they people who don't know them, watch them on Facebook. They are fun.
Yeah, you can see the personality off the ice too. So
yeah. You also do some what if questions.
Yeah.
We also have them for you. You are from the Buffalo region. You don't live there anymore, but when you come to Buffalo, maybe your family is living there. What do you see first? Do you go to the Niagara Falls, or do you eat some buffalo wings?
Well, I grew up like 15 minutes from Niagara Falls, so it's kind of like when you live near something, you take it for granted. So I used to drive past it all the time when you go over the U.S.-Canada border to skate. So it's like, okay, hey, Niagara Falls, that's nice. It's beautiful. But definitely when I get home, always got to get chicken wings. And secondly is I try to skate with some of my friends back home as much as possible, because I think we got 20 or 30 ice rinks within the greater Buffalo region. So I'm always trying to get on the ice there when I get home. So definitely chicken wings. Spending good time with close family and friends, and playing ice hockey as much as can.
Okay. What if Leuven plays the Belgium Cup final? Would you like as an opponent Liège or Herentals? I guess I know, but
yeah, we're going Liège. We're going Liège, and this is how I'm calling it. It would be if it would be Liège, it would be in their arena because their crowd is much more hostile, and I like a hostile environment. I like people yelling at you, screaming at you. They don't really hate you. It's just nothing personal. It's just a part of the game. But I'd pick probably in Patinoire in the Belgian Cup final.
Okay. And the Belgium League, Antwerp is going some tier play beneath, going down.
Yeah.
Do you like a competitive BENE League with 10 teams, or BENE League as big as possible?
I think it really depends. I think it would be fine with 10 if it's competitive. I also think that if 11th or 12th, whether it be, I kind of like having that 12 in there just because it adds a big mix. And like whether it be them bringing, an Eindhoven back in the league, if that worked financially. I think last year with 12, it worked really well. Some of those teams were able to upset a few of the teams up top. You get a few more points in the system. But, if I had to say right now, if you said, hey, put me on the spot, I'd say, let's do 12 teams. But I ain't the commissioner, so we'll leave it at that.
Okay. One other question in the what's department. Flemish fries with mayonnaise or Belgian waffles?
I'm gonna answer as one, and then I'm gonna say Belgian fries, and then I'm gonna pretend you didn't ask me that question, and you just asked me again, and then I'll say waffles. So I'm gonna put the fries in my back pocket, and then I'm gonna ask you for a waffle because they're both delicious.
Okay. And what kind of food do you normally like, except for the waffles and fries? And
you mean just in general?
Yeah, just in general.
All sorts of stuff. I've always been a big on cooking food, so I cook all sorts of stuff. I make shrimp scampi. I make a lot of stir fries in the wok, whether it involves beef or chicken. But mostly my diet involves a lot of good vegetables, lean meat, things of that nature. But I'd say filet mignon, shrimp scampi. Those are some of my favorites. But I'll eat all sorts of stuff. I'm not too picky. Sushi's delicious, so all things like that.
Okay. And now it's a strange time with the COVID-19.
Yeah.
Things in Belgium and Netherlands are strange. You're in the United States now.
Yeah.
How are things right there now? And how do you spend time?
Yeah. No, that's a really kind of pressing question on the time of. It was really kind of a strange end of season. The way myself and a lot of other imports, friends and others look at it is at the end of the season, you're pretty tired from the season. I actually, I finished the season. I had a torn adductor that I got at the end of the season. So I kind of worked and played through playoffs with it a bit. And the first 2 weeks when I got home, I really just kind of had to let it be. I could still do upper body exercises, but let that rest for a little. But it was kind of weird. I saw Shane mentioned, obviously, with him and Kyle Brothers, when they flew home, it was kind of weird. The airports were quiet. When I flew home, it kind of was right around when the U.S. had that orders of they're closing the borders. So when I flew home, when I got back in the middle of March, I've been in quarantine for the last, 5 weeks or whatever it's been. I haven't spent time with anyone. And it's just weird because as an import, when you get home, some of your favorite things to do are initially see your family, friends, relax, maybe go out for a few nice meals, spend some time with family and friends. But nope, we're spending time I'm just at home. I got a garage gym. I set up some resistant bands, things like that. And just doing that. Haven't been able to go to the beach yet. But hey, we're all making do and doing it for a good reason. Until more science comes out in it, it's best just to be safe and help others, especially the people on the front lines working, because, they're putting their lives at risk. So the least we can do is read a lot of, books and enjoy things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ryan, for this interview. We hope you stay well, of course, and hope to see you next season. Yeah. Maybe in Leuven, maybe somewhere else.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of the day, and hey, stay well over there, and enjoy all the good food that I'm missing out on. So talk soon.
Yeah, that's good.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.